A very warm welcome to you all to the one-on-one set. In the studio tonight, we have with us the Miss World Mauritius, Liza Gundowry. During the 71st edition of Miss World, Liza represented our country and was in fact placed among the top 12. Tonight, during this episode of One-on-One, Liza is going to share with us more about her experience in the pageant. Liza, thank you so much for being with us tonight in the studio of the NBC.
Thank you so much, Koyol, for having me.
Liza, so you are Miss World Mauritius and you were among the top 12 in the Miss World competition. Such a beautiful achievement. So share with us, how did it all begin? Did you always have the interest to participate, in the pageant world?
So, Koyol, it's a funny story that many people who have been following me for a long time absolutely love to hear. This was not in my plan at all. I didn't know anything about Miss World growing up. I wasn't very much of a girly girl either growing up, so it wasn't a dream that I had since I was a little girl. In 2020, I had finished my undergraduate degree and I came back to Mauritius for an internship at the Mauritian media. And it was just before my master's, and just randomly like this, I happened to attend a press conference, and it was a Miss World press conference, and I knew nothing about the competition. So you can imagine me taking notes during the press conference, having lots of questions, of course. And actually after the press conference, the Miss World at the time came over to me and started asking me questions and told me that I should do Miss World. I thought she was just being kind, just one girl complimenting another girl, until she went to grab the Miss World organization, who came to speak to me themselves and told me, justement, you have the profile for Miss World and we would love to see you at Miss World. Not knowing that I had to go through the Miss Mauritius step first and then get to Miss World. They put me in touch with the Miss Mauritius organization. I applied, but in 2020 there was COVID, so my application was pushed to 2021, which was perfect because it allowed me the time to finish my master's studies. And then I applied in 2021, was accepted. I was in England at the time. I had to come back to Mauritius, happened to win the pageant in 2022, and here I am. I won the pageant. I prepared myself for Miss World, and it happened to be postponed so many times until 2024. Where it took place in India this year, and yes.
Yeah, Miss World is such a prestigious platform. Many girls dream, to be part of that organization, to participate in Miss World, and you did. You were among the top 12. Did you expect to achieve that, recognition, to be placed?
So I knew that I had the potential to do something impactful because I had a really good Beauty with a Purpose project. I had prepared myself for communication, for the catwalking, for the talent, for all of the rounds. So I knew that I wanted to do something really good and I wanted to represent my country well. But when you get there, it's very unpredictable. So I got there feeling very strong, but there were lots of moments during the competition where I wasn't being placed and I didn't feel like I was being recognized because Mauritius is such a small country.
Exactly.
It's so difficult to be seen, to be heard. And I didn't lose hope. I kept going until the last minute, and that's what saved me. But I was thinking, wow, I've come all of this way. I've prepared for 2 years, and it could potentially not even bring me anywhere. So I expected it, then I didn't expect it, and then at the last minute, it happened. So I'm very grateful.
You had to be consistent then, right? To keep believing in yourself.
Yes, that's the biggest. I learned a lot of lessons during the Miss World competition. It sounds cliche, but I really did learn so much about myself and about how to show up better for myself. But one of the lessons that I did learn was resilience, just to be really resilient because you never know who's watching you and you never know whether that's actually the end for you or whether there's something just coming up. You just need to wait a little bit more. Yeah.
It's quite unpredictable times.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did it feel, to represent Mauritius on such a global platform?
It felt really good because actually, Koyol, when you're there, they don't know you by your name. They know you by your country. So I was being called Mauritius all the time, by the organizers, by every girl. So you really feel patriotic during this moment because you're the only representative out of 112 countries doing you, representing your country, your culture, your values. So it's a big responsibility. And I think, I mean, I was told during the competition that I was a really good ambassador for Mauritius. And I really tried to represent the essence of Mauritian culture, not just the beaches and the sand and the hotels that we know, but really like, you know, the people, the warmth, the siga, certainly the music. I did my talent performance on the Sega song. So I performed Rêve nos ancêtres by Cassia and Désiré François. I translated some of it in English, but I left some of it in Creole. So wherever I was going, I was really trying to show off this Mauritian culture. Yes. And I'm really proud because I remained authentic. And I think that I represented our country to the best of my ability, at least.
I'm sure many of our audience was watching you when the competition was being broadcast on TV. I was watching you and I felt so proud when, you know, we heard the name Mauritius among the top 12. So what was your reaction at that moment?
So before the top 12, there is the top 40.
Yes.
So already they have to cut out, you know, like 80 people to get to the top 40. So it's very competitive to get to the top 40. And before the competition, everyone is just stressed about getting in the top 40. That's just everything that you want. Now, I was sharing a room with Miss Madagascar, and it wasn't really said between us, but we were thinking it's really rare that they're going to put Madagascar and Mauritius in the top 40 because we're two very small islands, both in the African continent, M and M, like literally next to each other in the alphabet. So when I heard Madagascar on stage in the top 40, I just thought, that's it. Mauritius is not going to make it. It's not going to make it. And I had already kind of lost hope. And this is why I say you never know. You have to wait until the last minute. And then I heard Mauritius and I was so happy. Me and Madagascar, we were so happy for each other. We were like, how did we both make it? You know, we had been together through this entire journey. And then I knew in my heart that I wanted to get further than top 40, but I was happy with just the top 40 because I already didn't really know whether I should expect it or not. And I knew I wanted to get further because I wanted to answer a question on stage, because it's really rare that we see and hear a Mauritian girl in an international competition taking the microphone and saying something really good. So I really wanted that. And I told my parents before that I wanted to go at least to the top 12. But I already made my top 12 in my head. And to be in the top 12, you have to be in the top 3 African countries. And honestly, I didn't even count myself in the top 3 African countries because there were other countries that seemed stronger, that had bigger teams, that seemed more well prepared than me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pray for this, but I don't know if it's going to happen. And so when I heard Mauritius, I didn't even know like how I felt because it was such a buzz moment. It went so fast. I was just, you know, because you have to be on your best behavior. You can't just, you know, collapse or or celebrate. You have to
take time for you to process.
Exactly. You have to just like catwalk and go on stage and be fine. So it was like, it was just happening to me. I didn't really know what was going on. But what I did hear was my mum and my dad actually came to Mumbai, and I didn't have like a big fan base in Mumbai, obviously, and I didn't have like a huge organization or many fans. But I heard like my parents, 2 people in the whole stadium, like the whole theater, wherever we were, just shouting. I heard my dad like, yes. So, you know, you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what's going on, but you just feel so relieved. And yeah, so I was really relieved and I felt really proud actually to be representing this Mauritius across my chest.
So would you say that was your most memorable moment during that competition?
Oh, I mean, I don't remember it. So I don't really remember this moment. So I don't know if it's the most memorable. I'd say the most memorable thing about the competition in general was meeting the girls. And it sounds cliche, but you're really amongst the most beautiful inside and out people of their country. They're very strong women, each coming with an amazing project. And just to be around them, like from morning to night, we're together from the moment that we wake up to the time that we're going to bed. So it's really something special. You share amazing conversations, just amazing, strong moments of like lots of emotions with these women. So that is something that I will remember forever.
So you were there for how many days actually for the competition?
We were there for 3 weeks. Usually it's a month, but this year it was 3 weeks. I really wish it was a month. But luckily, after the Miss World competition, the delegation came to Mauritius. So I had my total month with them. And that was like a dream come true.
So it was actually the second time that Mauritius has been placed at that competition. It was Anne-Muriel Ravina.
Yes.
So do you know her? How was your bonding with her? Did she give you advice? How was it
Yes.
when she learned that you were placed?
Yes, so Koya, in the whole 50 years, 50 or so years that Mauritius has sent a delegate, we've only placed twice in the top 12. And Anne Muriel, as you rightly said, is the only other girl who placed in the top 12 before me. And coincidentally, she is the only other Miss Mauritius who was there with me throughout the entire journey. Like, I owe so much of what I know about Miss World to her. And I'm so grateful for her because she has poured so much into my journey. And as I said, online, I was able to run. She walked so that I would be able to run. And it was a really nice moment. And even during the competition, actually, when I was feeling down sometimes, she would just call me and she would share her tips and she would say, don't give up. They might be testing you. Don't give up. And I think she was the first person to tell me that, because everyone else had been telling me, well, it's okay, just enjoy the experience, because they didn't think that I would do that well. But Anne Muriel, she had faith in me from the beginning. She thought I was going to win the competition. So she's someone that I value greatly, and I'm really grateful to have had her on my journey.
Sport.
Yeah.
Yes. Liza, we all know that Miss World, is a competition where you have to be at your best, prepare yourself in an appropriate way. So how did your preparation go?
So the preparation was very intense. It was very challenging at times. I'm not going to hide that to anybody. And actually, I was preparing for 2 years and I thought that was a lot. And then I arrived to Miss World and met girls who were preparing for 6 years, 10 years, some girls preparing since they were 4 years old. So actually, my 2 years seems like nothing. But to me, it was very long because the Miss World competition kept being postponed and you had to just keep going. Resilience, resilience. And that has been an emblematic theme of my journey, I think, resilience. I had to prepare myself physically. So I had to go to the gym. I had a personal trainer. Staying in shape is very important. And also mentally, it came with a lot of challenges behind the scenes that many people won't get to see. It's not always glamorous. There are lots of challenges to face, especially in Mauritius. You end up doing a lot of the preparation by yourself and having to go and knock on doors and seek out opportunities by yourself, carrying out your Beauty with a Purpose project by yourself. So you have to prepare your project, you have to prepare your communication, your catwalking, your stage presence, your confidence, your talent. So I had the opportunity to be coached by many people, including Désiré François himself, for my talent competition. There are lots of steps in Miss World. There's a challenge every day. So you really have to prepare for those. And also you have to invest in 3 weeks worth of clothing, which is not an easy task. It's 3 outfits a day, approximately, for 3 weeks. So you can imagine, I went there with 5 suitcases, however many shoes, pairs of heels, accessories, different color clothes. So yeah, it's a big preparation. And to anyone who wants to do it in the future, I would say to be mindful of this preparation and to be ready.
When we talk about Miss World, beauty pageant, people always tend to think about appearance. But do you feel that personality development is also something important in that aspect?
Absolutely. And for Miss World, actually, yes, it's a beauty contest. So you have to be pretty. You have to look nice and do your makeup and walk well. But a lot of importance is placed on the purpose. So your Beauty with a Purpose project. And that is a cause that you have championed in your country. And you have to, at the end, present a video and convince the panel. You have to do a speech when you get there to convince the panel and all the other misses. And, you have judges from all over the place. We were actually presenting this presentation at the place where the G20 summit itself took place. So it's not something small. Yeah. And you have to really prove that you've been working and you will continue to work as a potential Miss World. But also, something that you may not know is that they observe you behind the scenes. So how you are with the other girls, how you are with the chaperones, who are the people who look after you from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, how you interact with the hotel staff, how you interact with the bus staff. So these are little things. You're always being judged. And so if you're just pretty, you're not going to get anywhere, because you also have to be talented. You also have to be good at sports. You also have to be, there's so many just different aspects that you're judged on. So I would definitely say that being pretty is not enough. because everyone is beautiful.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
exactly. And can you tell us about the different friendships that you've made during that competition? I mean, there were so many different girls from different countries. I'm sure it must have been a beautiful bonding.
Yes, it was such a beautiful bonding. As I mentioned, Miss Madagascar already, she was my roommate. So we would do everything together, you know, because we're sharing a room. We're also sharing a bathroom in this crazy environment. We just have to be so comfortable with each other because, you know, we're sharing a small space, so many emotions, so many events. I need to shower, you need to do your makeup, you need to do your interview now, I need to do my talent. So it's really, you have to be comfortable with this other person. And luckily, I was so comfortable with her. Also, the other girls from Africa. So we're always within our continents. And I remember, you know, on Sundays, we would worship together, we would pray together, and even pray for each other when one of us was feeling down. So it's very special. But you can also bond with girls from other continents, which I definitely did. I speak Spanish, so I was able to bond with the girls from the Latin American countries, the European countries. I was really good friends with Miss Portugal. And honestly, they're bonds that I will keep, I think, for the rest of my life because you really live something extraordinary with these people.
Wonderful. And Lisa, what social cause are you most passionate about, and how did you, been involved with it through your platform?
Well, thank you so much for asking me about this because my Beauty with a Purpose project was a main thing that I was focusing on going to the Miss World competition. I went to Miss World representing Mauritius, but also other small island developing states currently suffering from the consequences of climate change. As you can see in Mauritius, it's in the form of cyclones, and with cyclones come food insecurity. And food insecurity, according to the UN, affects mainly women. And as a passionate advocate of women's empowerment, I wanted to tackle a problem that was affecting mainly women. So I decided to tackle the problem of food insecurity. And I started my Beauty with a Purpose project in my hometown of Sainte Croix, helping a group of women to cultivate their own crops. So I managed to partner with the Ministry of Agriculture to provide courses for them. I then had sponsorships from Duraco, Espace Maison Cernol to be able to provide equipment and gardening tools to these women. And so it was a small project, but it was hopefully an impactful one that allowed these women to take back the food security of their households. And it's something that can be easily replicated across the country and in other small island developing states. It's just one way that we can tackle, you know, the issues of climate change. There are many other ways, but that was my contribution, and that was the cause that I championed for Miss World.
So do you plan in a way to use your status as Miss World Mauritius to make positive changes in your community?
Yes, I mean, I'm back and forth between Mauritius and England. I'm currently thinking maybe to return for work, but I would like to at least I'd like to at least leave behind an influence so that people can learn to be more self-sufficient, sustainable, and take their food security situation in their hands and know that they can do something about it and not wait and not have to buy, vegetables and fruits at extortionate prices.
We all know that Miss World is not all rosy. I'm sure you had your part of challenges, difficulties. So how did you try to overcome them?
So the whole journey actually was quite a challenge. I mean, now it's great. I'm reaping the rewards of my good performance, but behind the scenes, there were a lot of moments of demotivation, and a lot of moments where I didn't want to continue because it kept being postponed, and I kept having to find that courage to continue working towards this thing where you don't even know if you're going to win, you don't know if you're going to do well. So, you know, in a sense, a lot of your preparation could be for nothing. I mean, not for nothing because you grow as a person, but you don't know if you're going to have any reward at the end. So that was a really great lesson for me. And also during the competition itself, I wasn't really being placed or seen or recognized in any of the challenges. I went thinking, okay, at least for communication, I'll do well, or at least for talent, I'll do well. And when I wasn't in the top 20 of those things, I was really demotivated and I was crying to my mom, to my family, like at night in my room. And that's something that I didn't let the public see. People thought I was doing fine. I was walking confidently. I was still getting up at like 4 a.m. in the morning and doing my makeup and showing up as my best self. And I think that's the main thing that I took away from that is that
Really
you
keep
know,
your head up.
keep your head up, exactly. And that's something that I'd like to encourage others to do, because it does sound really cliche when people say, keep your head up, keep going. Sometimes you just don't want to keep going, but in the end, it's always worth it. And your destiny will always happen in the way that it's supposed to happen. So just trust the process and trust that there's going to be something good at the end of it.
Wonderful. We are actually drawing towards the end of this episode, but before that, Liza, you were actually working at the Oxford University, right? So what are your future goals now?
So yes, I did my master's at the University of Oxford, and I was working for them as well. It was perfect because it allowed me to work remotely, and being in Mauritius and also continuing to give back to my community of Oxford, I was helping students with learning difficulties access an Oxford education. And now that Miss World is over, I'm thinking of actually working in my desired field. I studied international relations, so I'd love to go to something towards conflict resolution, international relations. Currently, I have an opportunity coming up in London with Paramount, which is exciting, but it's a short-term thing. And then afterwards, we'll see. I am still keeping my foot in the door in Mauritius, hopefully with Miss World. So I've got a few things to juggle. And then, yes, we'll just see how it goes.
And as a role model to many, what key message would you like to share with young girls who are watching you right now and who maybe aspire, to participate in a beauty contest later on?
So the main thing, if girls want to do a beauty contest, especially in Mauritius, is to be prepared. Because as I mentioned, a lot of things you have to do by yourself. So have the maturity and to have that kind of go-getter attitude to be able to go and seek out opportunities, seek out sponsorships, speak to people in your community, because you are doing all of it by yourself and you're going to have to present this at Miss World. So it has to be something that you're proud of, that you've put a lot of effort into, to have the determination to go and find your outfits, to go and prepare for your talent, because it's a lot of self-motivation. So to be prepared for all of that and the challenges that you'll face and the demotivation and just everything that comes with working by yourself and doing everything for yourself. But I think a message that I'd like to pass on to Mauritians in general, young Mauritians in general, is to be resilient. I think my journey has been the perfect example of resilience. And actually, it links back to a lot of, I went to Miss World and I spoke a lot about the resilience of Mauritius in general, with our history, with our culture, how we as a people have had to show resilience. So I think to go in that vein and to continue pushing towards their goals, because sometimes it doesn't seem attainable, especially coming from Mauritius, a small country. But if you have something in mind and you really, really put your mind to it every day, of every week, and you just dedicate everything to it, something good, even if it's not something that you expect, but something good will come out of it.
Thank you, Liza. It was such a delight to have you on the set of One-on-One tonight and learn more about your wonderful experience at Miss World. I'm sure your journey has inspired many others.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. Thank you for your time. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.